Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 186 for February 17th, 2016. I am Mox Born Again. I have with me, as always, it's my angel.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. How
This
are
is
you?
where you say, I'm fantastic. How are you? I'm just saying,
answered.
this is where you say you're fantastic. Anyway,
Am I always fantastic?
most of the time you're fantastic when you're not
Really?
sleeping.
Really?
Although last night when we were sleeping, Eli spent the night in the bed because, he does that. That's what he does. I got kicked in the face, like square in the face. And so I got up, and normally I would just come downstairs and sleep on the couch. But I got up and I looked down and I'm like, he's so cute. I can't be mad at him. Like, he was like all sprawled out, like sideways. Like, you were laying all the way on the edge of the bed, and he was like T. Like, and his feet were in where my face was.
Would be.
And I was like, oh. So I just picked him up and turned him and laid back down. But he's just a little brat. Kicked me in the face. Anyway, we're here to talk about some games. We're here to talk about some, we got TV shows. Our TV shows are starting to come back.
Yay.
So I guess we can, let's just, because it's going to be a short, not short podcast, it's going to be a short gaming stack because we haven't been playing a whole lot. I know you've been playing Fallout, so we'll get to the Fallout moment at the end of the show. We're going to do the closing and then we'll do the Fallout moment. So if you're interested in hearing about our Fallout antics, stay tuned after the closing.
But it may have.
It will have spoilers.
Yes.
It's a spoiler portion of the show. That's why we're moving it to the end. So if you don't like it, don't listen to it. So the gaming stack. So you don't have anything other than Fallout to talk about, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you get to listen to me blather on.
What else is new?
Wow, man, you're so hateful. Anyway, so started designing my own map in Halo 5. Found out that the scripting that you have, the capabilities is actually pretty outstanding. Like, you have an awesome set of tools that you can trigger on a whole different parameters, not just pushing buttons, but timing. If this happens, then this happens, or if that happens, then this happens, kind of thing. It works it's an if-then type of system, which is, to me, a lot of fun. And like, it just my creativity just blew up, and I'm like, you know what? Well, the first thing I did was, like, talked about last week, I made the two little rooms, and like the smoke comes down on one and the fire comes up on the other, and the doors closed shut or whatever. And I was like, and they put the rooms like side by side or whatever, and it kind of got me thinking, like, maybe I should make The Cube, the movie, or make a map based on The Cube or whatever. So I got, the pencil out and started drawing, and of course, the first thing I think of is like, do I want to make it, because I can't make it real big. My first thing was like, do I want to make it 3x3x3 or 4x4x4? And I was like, so I went with the 3x3 just because that's what I thought the limitations of the system were going to be. Take that into account. But the quickly realized that won't be able to do 3x3x3 because there are scripting limitations. You can only have 512 different scripts, and the problem I was experiencing is for each door. So if you haven't seen The Cube it's called Cube. It's a movie back in the 90s. It was like a scientific government project where they take these like 6 or 7 strangers and they wake up in this room, and it's a perfectly square cube. It's got a door on the floor, door on all sides, all 6 sides, and it's lit up with like this crazy color or whatever. The whole room, I think the room they start out in is blue. So they open the hatch, and then there's a hatch like next to, in front of that, and they open that up, and then there's another room. Okay, so I don't want to spoil. Oh, I guess I can. The movie's forever. It's a really great movie. It's old school.
Horrible.
No, it's old school. It's totally good. It's a great horror sci-fi flick. So essentially, what ends up happening is each room is a booby. There's a set of booby traps, or some of them are safe or whatever. And so at the very end of the movie, they're down to like 2 people or 3 people, and the one guy's going crazy, insane. He's trying to kill the other 2 or whatever, and they're running through this this freaking maze or whatever. And I won't spoil the ending because it's a really good ending. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to make this map, and like for one door, like one wall, because the way
You forgot to mention that each of the squares moves.
I wasn't gonna say that, but you said
Oh,
it. So,
sorry.
spoiler alert.
Sorry, but that's what
The
what your whole thing is based off.
Right,
Of.
I
That's what
wasn't
your whole
gonna
map is-
I wasn't
okay,
going that
sorry.
far, but that's okay. That's okay. Thank you. That's okay. So the rooms move, and there's in between each of the rooms there's a set of numbers or whatever, and they've
Like
got
coordinates or something.
there's a
right?
mathematician in there, and she's trying to figure out, or he's trying to, can't remember if it's a he or she, trying to figure out like this equation or whatever, and they figure out how to notify if it's a safe room or a booby trapped room, and they think they have it, and then all of a sudden the guy says clear, and then the guy jumps in and he like gets like shredded by some wire or some shit like that, and gets completely like disintegrated, and they're like, well, I thought you said it was safe. He's like, I don't know if it was safe. And they quickly figure out that it's not a math equation. It's the location of the cube inside of the cube. And they like this awe moment is like, they realize how big this thing is and the fact that the cubes are moving. And if they had stayed in the cube they were in originally, that was the doorway cube that would lead them to the outside. They just had to kind of wait it out. And it was just like this moment of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Sorry.
so my idea was, okay, I'm gonna make a 9x9 cube and have the parts move around or whatever in real basic fashion, like one's gonna move up, the other one's gonna move over, nothing real fancy. And it was gonna be a capture the flag map. So you have 2 bases, and that's where you'll start, and then whatever. So quickly realized that I won't be able to do a 3-dimensional cube. I will only be able to do a plane because the scripting that is required to open a door and close a door, I need 3 scripts per door, and I need
cube.
per door.
Oh.
So if I have one door leading straight ahead, and then there's another door on the other side of that for the next cube, that's 6 scripts right there. Plus, then I have to have 4 buttons to operate those cubes, or those doors each. So, I mean, you're talking, 2 or 3, 6, plus 4, 10 scripts for one door. Well, a set of one door. And so basically the moral of the story is won't be able to do that. So I have to do a plane. A line segment. I figured out that if I did a straight line, I could have 5 cubes straight across. Or if I wanted to do a set of 4, or a set of 2 and 2, I can make them side by side and actually still have the rooms move. So I'm at a dilemma here. So here's my dilemma. I can either make the 2x4 cubes, so like the 2 rows of 4 cubes, and I can have them move, but I can't have anything in the cubes. There's no way I could do this and still have enough memory to create things inside the space, because all the pieces that are required to make the doors and the walls and shit. So I can either do that. So I can either have the rooms move, or I can make a what was it? It was a 3x4 set. So 15 or 3, 9, so 12. I could have 12 rooms, and fill them full of shit, and they just won't move. So I can make booby traps and stuff like that. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to go, like, which part of the movie do I want to incorporate into my map? Do I want the rooms to move but have no booby traps? Or do I want them to stay stagnant and fill them full of booby traps and things like that? So I'm kind of like, I'm at a pass, like a fork, I guess. So anyway, if you would like to put in your vote, you can tweet at us at BC Podcast on Twitter, and let us know what you think which direction the map should go. Should it go the moving rooms route, or should it go the booby trap route and just have the room stagnant? But I'm really impressed with all the different things you can do. In the actual, you can change the time of day, so it's a nighttime outside. Certain maps you can change, like, you know, what the background is if you're in outer space and things like that. Um, the color correction is, or the color selection is huge on like some of these pieces. But there's just a lot more. So the other thing I've been playing a lot of is Magic Duels. I know this isn't our Magic podcast, but it's I had to work it in there somehow.
Of course.
I opened up I finally got the online to work. So now Ducky and I can play online and stuff like that. So I was able to get some online games. I opened up a couple awesome cards lately. I have got a Chandra, the Flip Planeswalker. I opened up a Ulamog, so he's the fifth.
Where are you getting these cards to open?
Huh? On the game online.
Oh,
You
yeah.
play
Sorry.
the more matches
I
you
was
play,
thinking about when you guys open cards that I kind of zoned for
you did.
a minute.
So anyway, let's talk about Walking Dead since you're not kind of in the conversation. What did you think of the new episode?
Well, I thought it was sad. I thought it was a great episode. Like the writing of it and how it was put together was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I still thought it was really sad.
Why?
I like Jesse.
Oh, okay. Well,
I really
so spoiler alert.
spoiler alert.
If you're not caught up on Walking Dead, this is gonna be huge.
Yes.
Jesse's dead.
Oh goodness. You just
Super
came right out and
dead.
said it.
Super dead.
Yeah, they killed off her whole family in one foul swoop.
Right.
And I can understand, like, from a character's standpoint, how she would let herself get killed in that moment. But I still hated it. I wanted a hard, and yes, I'm going to use this word, like a shipper. You know how people are shippers of relation. They call themselves shippers. Like, so you're really into certain relationships on.
Okay.
You know, they talk about like Daryl and Carol shippers, like people who really are hardcore about wanting Daryl and Carol to be together, which I think that's a dumb idea. But anyway, I would have been a Daryl and Beth shipper, basically. So
I don't get shipper. Is it just because relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's kind of silly.
I know, but that's just what it is. Anyway, I really, really liked her with Rick, and I was thinking about, like how they did the whole flashback of him meeting her, and how when she went and cut his hair for the first time, and in his head he saw all the little glimpses of her because they really had a thing going, and
I liked them together too, but
there's nobody else I can think of that I would want Rick to be with.
They'll
Some people
find
would say Michonne, but no.
I don't like him with Michonne. I
No.
think they work together well, and
They're
you
too
don't
similar. There's just not a romantic connection there.
no. So I like Jesse too. I felt that it was unbelievable. I think it was. I don't think it was believable in this world of zombies that Glenn survived the way he did underneath.
It
What
was
you
just
call
a
it?
super, super wonderful timing coincidence on Abraham and Sasha's part.
Right, and well, no. I'm tying this into Jesse dying. So I didn't like the fact that Glenn didn't die underneath Nicholas. I felt like that was a little far fetched. And if they had let Jesse just like say, you know what, my son's getting eaten, but I'm gonna carry on. I feel like that is not.
It wouldn't have been true to her character.
It would have been true to her character, but it would have been very unbelievable, especially knowing where they came. I mean, Glenn surviving underneath Nicholas is more believable because he's been out in that world. He understands, like, hey, I can pour zombie guts all over me and I can walk through a herd. Maybe if I just lay here, they won't eat through him to get to me, or whatever.
They won't realize that I'm still alive.
Right, or whatever the case may be. Hopefully you got your arms tucked in and your legs tucked in, and they don't start nibbling on your body parts. But I feel like with Jesse, the whole situation with Jesse, if they would have had her move on, I felt like
just grabbed her. If they could. I mean, Rick had her hand. He could have just grabbed her and started running with her. But no. Then the older son had to get crazy and shoot it.
yeah, he didn't shoot. He pulled the gun on Carl. But I think when Michonne drove him through with her sword, that's when he pulled the trigger.
I don't know.
But that was a pretty cool interaction. Like, he just turning sideways and like he just had the blood gushing, just like Dad, and then he just collapsed. I mean, I guess he just fainted or
Right. I mean, he got shot in the face.
right.
which
I can't imagine
is
what
a
that.
moment that many comic book readers were waiting for
Right.
because they knew that was bound to happen. It
And it-
happened in the part of Alexandria. It was Douglas Monroe in the comics, the person that Deanna basically became or was written into. Shot him while wildly shooting at zombies during the whole time when the zombies had taken over Alexandria. So it was pretty close to the.
But it happened really quick. I wasn't expect. I
yeah.
stood up. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
I expected it just because I haven't read the comics, but I've kind of read synopsises of
Right.
whatever.
Synopsis.
Yeah, of what actually happens in them. So I knew that would have been coming up if they were going to do
So-
it.
And I was a little scared that we were going to see Farmer Rick come back after his son was shot. And he was just sitting there staring at his son on the operating table. And I was like, oh, great. He's going to go into, like, the whole, like, it's all my fault and I can't be a leader. Someone else is going to take the helm and blah, blah, blah. But nope. We got clear out the
Crazy hatchet.
clear out cell block C, Rick. Or was it B? Maybe it was B. I don't know. But
Yeah, went crazy with the hatchet.
it was a pretty powerful scene with like Father Gabriel like actually nutting up and like
So did Eugene.
yeah, Eugene. Yep.
And a lot of the Alexandrians came out of hiding in their homes
And-
too, and they all went back to back. And
Right, and it was kind of like a group
a
epiphany.
big uniting.
Yeah,
Well,
like
and Rick even
Rick-
said it at
Rick's-
the end. He
yeah,
even
Rick
said,
saw-
like,
go
I
ahead.
was wrong about these people. They can survive. They can do this, and they showed me that today.
Well, and I think part of that is the people that couldn't survive got killed off by the wolves and the walkers. The people that survived are the ones that made it to safety. So I think that has something to do with it. But the group that they have now, the core group of Alexandrians and the our group,
They're the stronger ones.
they're good to go. So it looks like from the previews that they kind of break apart and go in separate ways a little bit. I don't know what they're doing. I guess rebuilding, searching out for new people, because that sounds like what Rick wants to do. Is let's rebuild the walls, make them stronger. Let's expand the
And
walls,
he thinks it can be a viable option now.
which it can be. I mean,
Yeah.
they killed a shitload of zombies right there. I mean, they still have the quarry to worry about. Like, I don't think the quarry is empty by any stretch of the imagination. But it was a good episode. What else? Anything else happen in there?
I mean, that was pretty much it.
Well, we Negan's guys are history.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. They
Rocket launcher.
they
thing to the
threatened
face.
they threatened Daryl and sent Daryl and one of his guys, obviously not an equal, back to the back of the truck, where Daryl took him out nice and quiet, picked up a rocket launcher and just laid waste to them.
Yeah, the nice pink mist of bikers.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, it was a good episode. And then so those guys actually made it back to Alexandria just in time to help clear out some zombies.
Ridiculously just in time.
Yeah. So, I mean, they drove 10 miles in the time it took Rick and them to walk 3 blocks in the dark.
Something like that.
Because they started out in like midday and then like
daytime. I don't know. I'm confused.
yeah,
with
that
the whole
timeline was
dynamic.
just a little strange. Just a little strange. They started out in like midday walking through the zombies and then shit
was
went down
dark.
when it was like pitch black out.
Yeah, but when they saved Maggie on the pylon and Glenn, that was all during the day,
Mhm.
wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, no. That was at night too.
Well, I thought when Abraham was up on top of the thing and said, "Can you get the gate?" I thought that was daytime.
Mm-mm. That was all at night.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just the lighting. I don't remember. I was half asleep probably anyway.
Yeah. So, so that was Walking Dead. I got to watch Better Call Saul season 2 episode 1 yesterday, and that show has surprisingly gone a much stronger route than I thought. I thought it would be a one season hit wonder and that would be it. We wouldn't hear anything else of it. I figured they would kind of blow their load, so to speak, and go episode 1, here is Saul Goodman, but when he was, not Saul, he was Jimmy. and then episode 10, here's Saul, and there's the that's the bridge. But no, he hasn't even started going by Saul yet. Like
That he
he's
didn't have that. You didn't think he had that much backstory to his character.
yeah. I didn't. If he did, I think they would skip. I thought they were going to skip around enough to make it just one season long. I didn't think they would plan out multiple seasons, but they did. I mean, there's a whole bunch more to tell. I mean, he's just now figuring out his like his morality, I guess. Like he's like kind of like wavering between good and bad. And like the last 2 episodes,
Unlawful good.
well, and it's funny because he's talking like he's at the end of the first season, he gets involved with these non-criminal criminals. Like it's a wife and a husband who, I think the husband's like some type of treasurer for the city or for the state or
Oh,
something
so the
like
people
that.
at the very first episode he wants to represent, and they don't want him or whatever.
Yeah, they don't want him because they say something.
Okay.
They say something like, only guilty people hire you or something like that. So they go off and go with the H&HR or whatever, or HRR.
The big group
The
that
big
his brother worked for.
Right. So they go off with him, and like the short story is they find out like their advice is we need to plead guilty. You're going to do up to 18 months in prison. If that, you need to take this as a good deal because the money's gone. You're the last person that had it. You've been in control of it. And the wife is just on this like weird psychotic like denial. Like there is no money. Well, you keep talking about like we have the money. There is no money. And so she actually fires the law firm, and they go back to Jimmy and say we want to hire you. And he turns them down.
Oh.
At the very beginning, he turns them down. He's like, no, you need to go back to them. So at any rate, so he's wavering on that or whatever, and Jimmy actually gets a hold of the money or whatever and sees the money, like this is the money, like, and so he has Mike, who runs the ticket booth at the the police
courthouse.
station, the courthouse or whatever. So Mike is starting to kind of get back into the swing. Obviously, he was, talked about him being a dirty cop or whatever, and his son getting murdered by these 2 crooked cops or whatever. His backstory is actually pretty good. But he hired Mike to steal the money from the family and bring it to Jimmy so he could turn it back in or whatever to kind of get things rolling. But at the end of season 1, Jimmy's like talking to Mike. He goes, we had over $1 million sitting on our table. Nobody knew we had it. We could have split it 50-50 and gone our separate ways. Why didn't we do that? And Mike's like, well, you hired me to do a job. I did the job, finished the job, no questions asked. You paid me, good to go. And Jimmy's like, well, I'm not making that mistake ever again. That was the end of season 1. So then season 2 starts, and like, he's kind of wavering on like getting this other job, working, with this case he figured out or whatever. It's too big for the HNHA or whatever, the big company that his brother works for. So it's too big for them. So they're hiring on another law firm. This other law firm's offering Jimmy a position. He turns them down to go kind of off on this little escapade where he's, getting back into the con artistry, and he actually pulls in his one friend, the chick that works for H&H or whatever, H&R, I can't remember, the big long firm. She works with him on one con, and kind of like he kind of wets his beak a little bit, and then he's like, you know what, this isn't going to be for me. So he ends up going back to the other company to help with this case or whatever. So they give him like a full-time position, get his own room, and it's kind of neat. So it's interesting to see him like wavering between good and evil, or this like gray space. So highly recommend it. Super awesome. Talking Saul was on afterwards. That was great to see that. I don't know if that's going to be on every episode, if it was just kind of like a one-time thing like Fear the Walking Dead, but I liked it. I'm really impressed.
Good.
So okay, so last thing before we go. So last week we talked about what Fallout DLC we would like to see. We talked about how Bethesda's going to have their own E3 conference show. And funny story, A couple days ago, Fallout 4 or Bethesda announced Fallout 4 DLC. So there's actually a little bit of something in here for everybody, which is kind of neat. So they're all different price points. So Automatron is a $10 DLC for the game. Essentially, there's this evil mad scientist who released all these killer robots, and yeah. So you got to find him, fight off these killer robots that are now all over the Commonwealth. You get the ability to collect these parts and build your own robot companions.
That part's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't really like fighting robots, though. I don't know. I don't get the satisfaction of fighting them. I don't think.
Well, I don't know, like if this
They're a
is
little
gonna.
more difficult. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm hoping that it's not just like all like huge mechanical robots. I'm hoping that there's some like cyborg kind of like half human, half like
synths.
kind of like synths. I mean, yeah, that would be sweet. I'm kind of excited about that. But you can build your own companions. You can, they've got a whole bunch of different mods, like different limbs, different armor sets, abilities. Kind of has me excited. I'm hoping that I can attach a flamethrower to my what you call it. So then that one's $10. Then Wasteland Workshops is kind of like a smaller DLC. This gives you the ability to set traps out in the Commonwealth to capture anything and everything from roaming raiders to death claws. You can domesticate these animals and have them as as your companions or something like that. You can put them in pit fights against each other. This also offers new DLC for your settlement, so you can customize more customization packs for your DLC or for your settlements. They mentioned different lighting and letter packs, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming that means like neon. They had a picture of like different neon letters or whatever, so I'm assuming that's neat. And then taxidermy is going to be a thing, so you can stuff your death claws. That sounds kind of fun. No?
Sorry, my stomach doesn't feel very good.
It's all good. So that one's $5. And then the last one is Far Harbor for $25. This is Fahaba. So this is they've quoted this as being their biggest landmass as far as DLC that they've ever released. So that's kind of a nice because Operation Anchorage was pretty big. The pit was a decent size too from Fallout 3. But this one, Nick Valentine has a new mission for you. Sends you to Maine, or is it an island off the coast of Maine, and called Far Harbor. And you're trying to track down a young woman and basically a society of secret synths. Is kind of like what's the whole immersion of this whole story. The one thing that I was actually asking for last week was something that has I want to go to the furthest in what we have now, the map we have now. I want to go where there's more radiation and stuff like that, and that apparently has got more has been subject to more radiation, so there's a lot more enemies that are mutated and so it gives a little bit more. I'm hoping the enemies are completely falling apart and just really dismembered and bleh. So all those are different price points. You got 10, 5, and 25. So if you remember, the season pass was $29.99. Well, Bethesda has announced that as of March 1st, that will be changing to $50. So, and obviously, if you add up 25, 5, and 10, you get $40. So there's got to be more DLC that's coming that they just haven't announced. So if you are planning on buying this stuff, I mean, at least even if you're just planning on getting Far Harbor, it's worth it just to put down an extra $5 and get it now before March 3rd or March 1st, and save yourself, the money, because it's good. I mean, Fallout DLC has always been good. I don't think we've had one that we disliked. I mean, we didn't do any of the New Vegas stuff, but that was a different company. But I've always been pretty happy with it. So, okay, so that's our show. You have anything else you want to add? All right. So if you're interested in listening, we've got our Fallout moments after the closing. You can hang out after that, and we will spoil the shit out of some stuff. Although we have been spoiling a lot of stuff lately anyway. So thank you for watching. If you missed us, if you missed the show, and you're catching us on YouTube, or if you're watching this on Twitch, in our video feed, you can catch us live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. On twitch.tv/BC podcast. Please subscribe to the channel. You can go to YouTube for that at youtube.com/72DPI online. You can check out all of our past, well, not all of our past, all of our most recent episodes. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We really do appreciate it. You can subscribe to our Twitter feed. I usually put up a post real quick before we go live, as well as our other shows before they go live. We've got a Magic the Gathering podcast that Magic Vice and I do every other Tuesday. That starts at 7 p.m. We just recorded one yesterday, so you can check out all that on the YouTube page. I'll be streaming some Magic Online tomorrow night. And, yeah, we'll be back next week for episode 187. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's talk about some Fallout moments. Our Fallout moment. So you've gotten farther than I have. So let me say mine real quick, and then I'll let you go off on your tangent about.
I don't want to say too much about stuff.
Yeah, you do. Go for it.
I don't want you to find out.
No, go for it. It's okay, because I'm gonna be doing it. I want you to go ahead and I want you to do it. I want you to. So we both have completed the first mission of the Institute, where you have to track down the runaway synth, or at least the first. I'm assuming there's multiple runaway synths, maybe.
Well, that's what the entire railroad does.
Okay, so that's what the coursers do.
Track down runaway synths.
Runaway synths. So I find it. I the first one they send you on, you're going to like this huge like junkyard like ship like.
Yeah,
it's like there's a whole bunch of garbage all over the
it's
place.
all these ships that are strung together with like
2x4s.
yeah.
And junk, which was really fun. And if you did you fall into the water?
No.
I did. And it is a pain in the butt to find a place where you can actually climb out, because you can't climb. You have to find a place that like has a slope.
There's a lot of hidden, not really hidden, but a lot of
Lock boxes.
lock boxes and chests and things along the way too. I mean, I got tons. Before this whole thing went down, I went and bought a bunch of ammo, and I really shouldn't have, because there's a ton of it along the way.
I need to go back there. I died a couple times in the middle of this quest, and
Oh, really?
yeah. I'm quickly finding out that I don't have many hit points, and I don't have very good armor. Did you take your power armor?
No.
Okay, I didn't either, but my armor just must be terrible or something.
I don't know.
But the
didn't
first
have
time I
an
went
issue.
through and got every piece. Like, I got a whole bunch of, like you said, ammo and stuff like that.
Yep.
But the second time I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm just going to get what I know where there's shotgun shells, and I know there's a freaking badass dude right before the door that I need to, turns legendary or whatever. A couple shotguns to the face took that guy out pretty damn quick. But anyway, so we get to the top of the tower or whatever, and the synth guy is standing up there, and he's got a couple of raiders around him. I was able to persuade him to just give up and come with me, which was awesome, because I've never had that happen before. And as soon as I did that, his raider buddies kind of flipped out and just started firing at us. Well, luckily, myself and my courser, and I think I had Strong with me. No, I didn't have Strong, because the courser takes the. Does the courser take the place?
I don't recall.
I don't remember if he does or not. I thought I had Strong with me. I don't know. At any rate, we made pretty easy work with those bad
Yeah, it
guys.
wasn't bad at all.
So I was expecting more, to be honest with you. But you, how did the quest go for you?
Very similarly, I didn't die. I thought it's pretty simple. But instead of, I didn't try to persuade him. I think I basically just gave him his shut-off code.
Oh, so you didn't actually have to fight him?
No,
Oh.
I just basically said his whole string of numbers and like reset or whatever, and he just hung his head and kind of basically went into power down mode.
Oh.
And the guys freaked out, and I fought them.
Well, that's sad.
Why?
I was hoping that there was like this huge battle or whatever that I kind of like skipped over.
No.
Because that's exactly what he did for me. Is like I persuaded him. He's like, okay.
Yeah, I just gave him his little shutdown code, and he shut down. And
Oh, that's anticlimactic.
yeah.
Sad face. So what's the next mission that you've?
Um,
Because this has put you into quite a dilemma.
it has put me in a dilemma. So, following that mission, you go back and talk to Father, who is your son. So that whole thing is just confusing. I really wish they would just rename him from now on Sean, because that would make it a lot easier. But at any rate, you go back and you talk to him. Meanwhile, actually, I should kind of say this. I've already joined the Brotherhood of Steel. I am among their ranks. I have my own little bunk on their airship and everything. So, and the Brotherhood is trying to also get into the Institute, basically to blow them up. They want to kill any synths. They think, technology's bad, except, of course, they use power armor, but so they want to rid the world of the Institute. So that's where your son is. So you're kind of thrown into this dilemma, like, okay, I belong to this group already. I've kind of pledged my allegiance to them, and now, like, I'm doing stuff for my son here. You feel like you're kind of
Walking a tight
playing
line.
both teams, yeah. And it's so I did go back to after completing that quest, I did go back to the airship, and the leader there that's on that ship of the Brotherhood of Steel kind of told me off a minute he's like, well, I saw that, I heard that you got into the Institute, and did this without our knowledge, and that was bad judgment, but you did get there, faster than anybody, and I'm glad you're on the inside. So once you're on the inside, get us this intel. And there's also like a doctor that's working there that used to work for the Brotherhood, convince her to come back and work for us. Like, they have some things that they want you to do from the inside, kind of undermining the Institute. So that kind of puts you in a predicament.
Right.
And you say, okay, well.
So what are you gonna do?
Well, I did do a couple of those missions.
Really?
So
So you went back into the Institute?
I went back into the Institute. I've gone back into the Institute. One I did not take to them was a holotape that they were wanting from the Institute. I have not taken that to the Brotherhood.
Do you have
I
it?
don't know what that would do. I do have it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what that would do. And I'm kind of scared to find out. I did, however, talk to one of the main, I think she works in biotech or advanced systems, one of the doctors,
Mm-hmm.
like the main doctor of advanced systems. And I actually did talk her into going back to the Brotherhood.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen any implications of that yet at the Institute. That just recently happened. And actually, she was friends with Virgil.
Okay.
And the Institute, you find out by talking to her through this quest that the Institute lied to her. She thought Virgil was dead, but she didn't know why. And you tell her, like, I actually have a holotape from Virgil saying, like, what happened. And so she is all, like, in total shock and disbelief that this group who had taken her in and given her all this stuff was in fact lying to her the entire time. And she decides to go back to the Brotherhood. So, meanwhile, the Institute sent me on another quest, which I went ahead and completed, which kind of sets you against the railroad.
This is like...
It's really hard because you kind of form bonds with each of these groups. But basically, the railroad has set up on Bunker Hill this colony of runaway synths, and you're supposed to go in there and bring them back.
Mm-hmm.
You go in. There's Brotherhood of Steel members there trying to kill synths. Which each of these missions you have the option to go back and tell the Brotherhood. So it'll say, like, go to Bunker Hill and get these things, or optional, go to the Brotherhood and inform them of this, which I didn't do. I went ahead and tried to go with them. But you have synths fighting you. You've got Institute synths fighting with you, and you've got Brotherhood of Steel fighting with you and against you, and it's confusing. And I'm part of them, but they're not shooting at me, but they're shooting with the guys I'm with, and it's crazy.
You're like, hey, you and you, come with me, and then, like, it's just gunfire.
It's nuts. So I got to the end of that battle, found like 5 or 6 synths who are scared to go back. I should have questioned them more before I gave them all power off codes. I didn't. I only questioned the last two, and I should have questioned all of them.
Gone through all of them.
I really should have, to find out what they're so upset about the Institute, because I really want to know who to side with. So I completed that, and it asks you to go meet with Father at the CIT ruins. So he's actually out of the Institute, which is like the first time he's ever been out of the Institute. And in your conversation with him, he's like, I realize now by looking at this wasteland that there's nothing here. We need to do what we can for the Institute because we are the only hope for humanity.
So he's still on board with the Institute then?
Father?
Yeah.
Yeah. He thinks basically the above ground is just nothing, which I don't necessarily agree with. You've met some decent people along the way. You've started your own. Cities and settlements. So if you didn't think that those were worthwhile, then why spend the time on them,
Right.
So at any rate, you go down to the back into the Institute and sit through a board meeting. And Father wants to name you director because he's dying.
Wow.
That's what I didn't want to tell you.
Wow.
So he wants to, and of course, everyone in the Institute is pissed off because you're this brand new newcomer.
Right.
Have nothing to do with the Institute. You've worked so much with these other organizations. And it basically comes down to there's one more mission now that they're sending me on, which is to there's a nuclear reactor above ground, and that would give the Institute enough power that they wouldn't have to steal from settlement. You'd have guaranteed power and be good. But there's some things that you need to secure in order to get that up and running. And if I do the teleporter to do this, I will be permanently an enemy of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh, boy.
And so I don't know if I want to be a permanent enemy.
Of anybody.
Of anybody, really, but I'm going to have to here sooner or later. I've kind of put it off. I've fast-traveled and done some other little side quests that I still have sitting going on, because you can do that.
That's just how that works. Like, we need you to do this mission. It's super important.
Hold
on a
minute.
second. Well, that's just like how your son was taken from you. Like, that sounds great, but I'm going to go build this wall.
Right. So, and especially because my main, yes, I like being in the Institute. It's clean and it's nice and they have amenities and, it's super awesome.
Their
But
construction
most of the
layout is
people-
terrible.
It is. But most of the people there are synths. They're not even real people. Like, how many of the people there are actually people? You don't know. And
I hope they have people to reproduce the world.
And well, there's one girl, if you actually talk to her, she is they tried to see if a synth could carry a human life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her name's Eve, if you find her.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
But anyway, my one main reason for siding with any of the thing the Institute did, because I was really pissed at the Institute for stealing my child and taking my husband, or killing him, was just because my son was there. So at this point, if he's dying, do I go ahead and side with the Brotherhood? Do I, it's really kind of thrown me for a loop as far
That's
as who
tough.
I'm going to
That
side
is a
with.
tough decision.
Yes.
Because you want to do right by your blood, but you don't want to. I mean, if he's gonna die off, you're right. How many synths are down there? How many human beings are down there? If you've got, I mean, my settlement alone has 18 people in it, and I know there's good people still up in Diamond City.
Yeah. So I've come to this really like rock and a hard place where I'm not sure the route that I'm gonna take just yet.
Knowing that, I think I might. Not knowing the outcome of your father, I'm gonna pretend like I don't know that. But I'm going to. I think the way I'm going to play this out, I think I'm going to go all in with one or the other. I don't think I'm going to do any more missions for the Brotherhood. I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I was originally really gung ho about the Brotherhood. I mean, you've got a strong military base. They worked with the Minutemen for a little bit.
You see them in Fallout 3, and that's they were kind of this on a pedestal. Like they were.
Super soldiers.
From what I remember, they were really good.
Yeah.
They protected the wherever you were there, the wasteland. Capitol Wasteland.
I
So
think you were in
yeah,
Pennsylvania, weren't you?
you were in DC.
Or DC? That's right. Never mind.
Yeah, it was the Capitol Wasteland. So they, you know, you kind of put them on this pedestal, and you're like, oh look, they're back. I want to be one of them. So, but then you find out, okay, they're kind of, and that's the thing. No, there's no gray area in this. Everybody's black or white. Everyone's robots are evil. You know, like.
But we're gonna have
technology's
power
But we're
evil.
gonna do the ones who are. The other people are like, we're the only ones who are better, and the wasteland is terrible. Like, no, like let's mesh the two together.
I really like the Minutemen. I wish they were more of a driving force. But you
So-
need. I know I'm not going to side with the railroad. I know I'm not going to side with them because you need human beings to populate the earth and.
Well, I don't think the railroad says that humans are bad.
No, I
though,
know they
either.
don't, but they are more synth than the Institute, I believe. I think the whole railroad is synth, isn't it? I don't think there's any human down there.
Yeah, it is. It's all sense.
Right. So.
But they were given. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, how can I be totally against synths, which both Institute and Brotherhood are anti-synth?
Institute's not anti-synth.
Well,
The Runaways, they are.
they don't think that synths have any human rights.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a synth
Well,
to them
they're
is
a
just a
robot.
machine,
Yeah.
which they are.
Yeah.
But they're given emotion. Like, they have emotion and they have feeling. Like,
Still a robot.
see, how can you say that when you've got that, like, your Nick Valentine companion, which, I mean, he even looks robot, but he's done a lot to help you out.
That's fine. You can help me out. You're a machine. Not
I don't
human.
know that I necessarily believe that.
Call me racist, but I don't think the synth. I think the synth start, or I think they stop at you're a machine and you can have human-like emotions and human-like feelings, but yeah, I mean it, and I think it all boils down to
sad.
it all boils down to.
What about Data in Star Trek? He was like a
I
cyborg.
I don't watch Star Trek, so sorry, that's not gonna help. I mean, it all boils down to iRobot. They don't have, unless they can, have that level of feeling. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Not for me. So I don't know. I'm either gonna go all in on the Brotherhood or all in on the Institute. I think I'm actually gonna lean towards the Institute. If I took the reaction to my father dying, if I knew that information ahead of time, I probably would go with the Brotherhood of Steel. But I just like what's going on down below Earth, and I like, as much as I hate the Institute like layout and how annoying it is trying to navigate that goddamn place. I think I might side with them, even though I love my settlement. Though that's the other thing. Like, I've put so much work in that damn settlement. I'm afraid they're gonna send me on a mission to like nuke the entire world.
That's what I'm afraid about with this nuclear reactor too. That
Right.
you're trying to get energy from.
Like, what do you really need all that energy for? Because it looks like you guys are doing pretty well with all
You're
your little
stealing
blinking
from other
lights.
settlements.
Well,
above
right.
ground.
Well, right, but you can't be stealing that much. I mean, I don't know. So
Anyway, that's
Anyway. that's your Fallout moment. It's good. Father's dying.
Sorry, I didn't want to tell you.
No,
You said to.
I'm glad you did. But I think I am gonna go with the Institute. I think I'm gonna side with the Institute. I'm just gonna go
Kind of
all
walked
in.
both lines for a while. It's good though to go ahead and sign up with the Brotherhood if you can, so that you can get in there and they've got all kinds of stuff. You can't steal anything there. Pretty much everything in that is yours to take
Really?
in that blimp. So there's a lot of stuff to
Well, I haven't been to the blimp yet. Maybe I will.
at least get that far.
Yeah, I think maybe I will. So I don't know. I just I might. I don't know. Like, well, because you can get into the blimp without doing any more missions, right? Like, you have to sign with them, I guess.
Pretty much.
See, I don't want to do that. Maybe I wonder if I can get to the blimp and steal all the shit and leave.
I don't think so. You have to follow the one dude to the Boston airport, and then you take you fly with him in the little helicopter dealy to the blimp.
Okay, well, maybe I will go that far, and then I won't do anything else. Just enough to get all the stuff.
Just
Just the tip. Oh, just the tip. Oh, shoot.
right.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We're going to go play some games. I think Angel's going to go to bed. All right,
Yes.
guys. We'll catch you all next week. Thanks for watching.
See ya.